Hi, this is Tessa Keogh, and we're back with the letter T. And when I took a quick look in the help file, two major topics come up. The first is tags, and the second is timelines. I figured that since Jeff did a Legacy webinar recently on timelines, and because the Legacy Virtual Users Group has already done a presentation on timelines, I'd have us take a real quick look at tags today. So let's get started. So the first thing I want to show you is that tags show up in a couple of places. They'll show up in your individual window, which is right here, and they'll show up in the marriage window. You can also see your individual tag, and for instance it's showing 8 right now, but you could choose anything you wanted. We talked about that before. I could ask it to be showing 4, and you have your marriage tag here as well. And you can scroll through as we talked about the other day. Now, what's involved with your tags? Well, you want to come to Edit, Tag Records, and click on that. And right away, let me make this just a bit bigger for you. It shows you all 9 tags. Now we've heard that in Legacy version 8, all 9 tags are going to show at the same time if that's a choice that you make. So that will be nice because right now in Legacy, you need to click on which tags you want to show, and you have a choice of any of the 3 that you want. The default is 1, 2, and 3, but you can change them out and save them, so it's whatever you want. Now the first thing I would suggest is that you always describe what your tags are, because I think we'll often find that we think we'll remember what the tags were, but we're not going to. I tag my family lines. I also tagged, this is an example here of the reunion that we had this summer, and I used a tag so that I could tag everyone who got back to me and told me they were coming to the reunion, and then I went into the Legacy program in reports and I did name tags for everyone. When I've been working on the 1940 census, and I work on particular areas at a time as opposed to particular families. Because for instance, say we have a number of people who are all in a certain farming community in the state of Nebraska. Sometimes it's easier to take a look at the various pages and look for various families and for intermingling of families. And a lot of times I mark that I have census finds, and that's what I was doing there. There's also an Obits of Nebraska, which lists obituaries, older obituaries for certain counties in Nebraska, and that's a tag that I went in and did a search in the Obits of Nebraska, and then I tagged all of the people who showed up that had obituaries so I could make a decision whether I wanted to order them or not. So you could take everything that you'd tagged and maybe put it in a to-do list, maybe make an order with it, what have you. I have my genealogy bank finds as another tag. I'm also working in Minnesota, so I have Wright County death searches that I'm doing. I work with Find a Grave, and I find it easier because I've put most of the information in the event or fact that I'm using, and I put my citations in all in one group. So that's what tag 8 is for. And tag 9 for me right now is I've noticed something's a little quirky or a little off, and so I just tag it knowing that I have to come back and take a look at either the issue or the source. Something's not quite right. So I show the various tags that I have, and as I showed you before, it's a simple matter of choosing whatever you want, and then they'll show up here underlined and bolded. Now, this is a lot of times what throws people, and just spend some time playing with it, knowing that you can always go back and start over. And the most helpful thing for you to do when you've opened up your tag is also open up your help section, because I'll show you what it looks like. If you click on tag and ask it to display the tagging section, you get a lot of information about what these definitions mean. And I just find it easy to either have this to the side or on another screen so that I can take a look at what I'm doing while I'm working my way through tagging. And for instance, in this discussion or help section, it tells you what legacy means by tagging an individual or tagging a family or tagging the ancestors, because to tell you the truth, it wasn't all that clear to me the difference between an entire family line and everyone. And so if you take a look at the help section, there's a pretty good description of who legacy means by this. And then of course you choose to tag or untag them, and you're making those changes wherever you select here. So you can click through your numbers and make your changes. And then you just click on this, and it usually asks you if that's what you mean to do, especially if you're going to untag everyone. And that's a helpful one. And clearly, as I've mentioned before, you always have the help file, and you can open the help file up directly from this advanced tagging. And then you can also work on the individual person if you want, but I find it easier to work with the people either on the screen that I'm working with and tag them as I need to, or to go into the name list. For instance, if you did that, you could take a look at your name list and you could tag anyone you want here, and you could work with it right from here. I find it easiest if I'm working with a large group of people to just work in the name list. Now, the one thing that I will point out is the tags are not listed in the detail, and they're also not listed in the edit page. At least I haven't seen them. So I took a look around and saw if they were anywhere else, and it appears that these tags are just listed here in the name list, and it's the 3 that are showing. Of course, that's going to change, and we'll have to wait and see what it looks like in Legacy version 8 when that comes out. Now, one of the things also that you can work with here is in options, you can come into advanced tagging. And so that's just another way to get there when you already have something open. A couple things I'm going to point out really quickly for you is if you're doing a search, one of the searches you can do in detailed search is to search for the tag. And then once you've done that, it will bring up every individual. You can create a list of everyone who's been tagged with the tag 2 here. Once you create your list, you can save it as a PDF and work with it. So that's one way of working with tagging in the search function. So there you have it. In a few minutes, a little bit about tagging. Be sure to check out the help section as well as the tagging presentation that I believe Linda McCauley did to learn a little bit more. And we'll see you back here tomorrow.